Good morning. It is about 7 a.m. on a random Tuesday in June, and I am at my normal dog walking place. But today I'm doing a test. I am going to be testing out what is the best mic for me to use on the move with my phone to get the best results. I'm talking to you now just through the phone. There's nothing attached. No, I'm wearing a lav mic there, but that's not connected. This is just through the phone. Now, it's not a very windy day, unfortunately, because I was hoping for some kind of real world test, because where I get issues is, well, when it's windy. So this should sound okay, but, well, does it sound better any other way is the question. So I'm going to take you on my walk, and we're going to use just the phone, the Rode lav mic that you can see there, and I've got a set of Apple AirPods Pro as well, just to see what the difference is. So yeah, lav mic's hooked up. Don't know how that last clip went. Obviously I can't compare and contrast really whilst on the move. I could play some bits back through my phone, but they're not the best speakers, are they? Let's be honest, even on this 13 Pro Max, whatever the name is. So yeah, we'll wait and see until we get back. I'll do a bit of voiceover just to summarise what I think is going on. But yeah, first time using the lav in public. Now, one issue I do have is that going under my shirt, the normal lead isn't quite long, and especially with the dog belt, so I've ended up with this extra huge curl just for an extra maybe foot or so of line, but I could get a shorter one I suppose, but it is what it is. It's not too bad. So yeah, relatively easy to use, obviously a lot more obvious as to what you're doing when there's a whole cable hanging down from your hand, but yeah, the actual mic itself is not bothering me. It's pretty discreet. I did have a jacket on when I left the house because it was meant to only be about 8 or 9 degrees, but actually it was about 14, so that soon came off. Yeah, and with that it would have been even more discreet, but hey, let's carry on.
So I think what we can tell from that first clip is that the lav mic is very clear, but maybe has a bit less dynamic range than the microphones in the phone. To be honest, I hadn't thought about this before, but it's probably to be expected given that the mics in the iPhone 13 it's effectively dual mic'd, one on each end of the phone, so it's picking up a kind of dual wave dynamic range. So yeah, it's not bad, it's just maybe not as good all the time, but let's see what happens.
AirPods time, and we've had an influx of bird noise, so I'm just going to see what these do. Right then, onto a different bit of the walk, and the AirPods are still connected. Now, this is a much more open space. This is an old mine, colliery site. So what I'm going to do now is repeat the same phrase with all 3 audio options, just to see what happens, and so I remember it. It can be a very simple case of counting to 10 when this dog decides to behave and I'm not getting in line. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now the phone on its own. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Apparently I can't count to 10 without taking a breath. Should we do it again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And finally then, with the Rode lav mic, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. As I say, I don't know what's better yet, but one of them will be.
I think we've learned a few key things so far. Ultimately, the Rode lav mic is consistent. It's not excellent in terms of high dynamic range. Certainly before it's been played with or edited with in post. Now, I must say, all of the audio clips you've heard so far have not been changed in post. These are just as they came out of the phone. Later on, we'll do some tests to work out what happens when we do start to mess around with it. The AirPods are pretty good overall. They're pretty consistent, but I'm always bugged by the fact there's a slight sync delay between audio and video, I guess due to the Bluetooth connection. And overall, the phone, when the conditions allow, is easily the best, but when conditions aren't quite as optimum, you start to get a bit of static and a bit of background noise that you don't really want. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play that last road clip back to you again, first time just as it was before, and then immediately afterwards with the same content having been messed around with in post to see exactly how big a difference you can make kind of after the fact.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I think we can all agree that that was quite a noticeable difference. All I'd done here was boost the treble on that second clip just to try and bring those high and mid ends just a bit more realistic. Now, you could easily just dial down the bass if you wanted a flatter general sound, but anyway, you get the idea. So there's no real concern about the initial quality, given this is what we can do with it. So for the rest of this video, I'm now going to apply the same filters I would normally whilst editing my videos to each of the sound clips, so you can understand exactly what each one sounds like when it's in its final form.
I'm just going to continue talking to you now from the lav mic, because really this is what this test is all about. Obviously I've had the phone for a while and I've had the AirPods for a while. I kind of know how they perform. I know that the AirPods generally come back with a better sound than the phone on its own. However, wearing them out and about can be, well, slightly disorientating, even with the audio pass-through on, just because, well, there's something in your ear and it's, I don't know. When you're listening to music, it's fine because it feels like what it's there for, but when you're not and just using it to record, I don't know, somehow it seems a little off. So I'm hoping that the lav mic can give us a decent audio option, but you don't have to have things stuck in your ears. But yeah, I don't know how this is picking up. The dogs are all mucking about as usual. I'm walking on gravel stone. But yeah, glorious morning, eh? Not bad at all. Now, interestingly, there's a farm just there, and I can hear the whir of some machinery. I don't know if the mic will pick it up. I hope not. It's not very loud. It's not super loud, but it'll be interesting to see if that comes up at all. And we have wind. I don't mean me. I mean there is wind hitting me. So this will be a really interesting test for the mic. Some noise in the background that way. So yeah, this will be a very interesting section to see if you get a lot of outside noise or whether it's me only. And there's a dog having a poo, so I'll be right back. Right, back with the AirPods in. I'm going to do kind of one extended stint with these now, just to see how they get on, and then I'm probably not going to bother using them again until much later, if at all, because to be honest, I've used them quite a few times for recording and I've never had an issue, but all of a sudden I realise when comparing it to something else that actually, I don't know, I'm not all that keen on them. They're a little bit itchy, they're a little bit, I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, there's a bit of wind hitting around. There is a person coming up with a dog, so I'm going to have to shut this down for a second in a second, but yeah, see how we get on. Okay, we have passed the person and we've got a little bit of a free run before we start climbing up a hill in that direction. So I'll keep these in until then. You don't need to hear me puffing and panting my way up that hill, although it might be an interesting test for the lav mic to see if it picks up on my incredibly heavy breathing. So we'll see. But yeah, dogs are having a whale of a time. It is a beautiful morning. Look at that sky. Look at that. I feel like I might have accidentally recorded this in slow-mo mode, so give us a sec. I had indeed, but yeah, we're back in normality now. So, come on, guys. So yeah, glorious day here. I was seeing these Nottinghamshire skies, but this is actually Derbyshire, so I won't claim these as our own. But yeah, look it. Just look it. Right then, time to climb what looks on camera to be a very flat hill, but I assure you, certainly is not. Back on just the phone now. I think I've muddied that up a bit. I tried to throw my phone in the air to get a nice kind of aerial shot, but I don't think it worked, and I did drop my phone once, but I chose wisely my standing position, which was on some soft grass and mud, and of course the phone ended up with the mud on it, but at least it wasn't a rock. So yeah, this is what it sounds like. Normally there's not a huge amount of wind out today, so it's probably okay. I know from experience that this phone is very good at picking up birdsong for some reason, so whilst that is semi-loud to me, it's probably very loud for you right now. So yeah, it's one thing that, well, it's nice to pick up birdsong, but sometimes it can be a bit overpowering when you're trying to talk about something for a prolonged period. So yeah, that's the main hill done. Another tiny climb before we wallow our way back down the road. Before we do though, I'll pop the lav mic back on. Leave it! Dog's trying to eat horse muck because they're filthy. And yeah, pop the lav mic back on in a minute. Take it from there. Back on the lav mic, and I'm on the kind of top road now, if you like. This is the kind of highest point you can walk on for, well, until that hill over there, but it's the highest point on this walk, and typically this is very, very windy. I've walked down here where it's difficult to make headway because the wind pushes you back, even in the middle of summer. Now, of course, again, typically we're trying to test some equipment. Hardly a breeze. Hardly a breeze. If anything, it's a bit stuffy. So there's a little bit there, a little bit, but yeah, really not a lot. So it's probably not a true test. And while we're on the subject of not a true test, I'm sure many of you are thinking, Tom, this is all well and good, but you're testing 3 different microphones at different times and places. Yes, it's all within the same sphere of my daily dog walk, but it's not really a true test side by side repeating the same things, which is true, and I appreciate that. However, without 3 phones, a rig, someone to help me and everything else, this just wouldn't be possible. And ultimately, that's not going to happen. This is not explicitly a tech channel, although it's something I'm interested in. So this is really for me to find out what I'm best off using. If it turns out to be the phone, which I don't think it will be, but if it does, then fine, because it means less equipment. If it turns out the AirPods Pro are the one to go for, then again, fine, already had them, didn't waste any money on those, and they were not cheap, so again, great. And they're wireless, which has its benefits, also negatives, because I need to remember to charge them, but you get the idea. And then of course the lav mic, well, if this turns out to be best, which I hope it does, it's good for several reasons. One is because if someone else is looking to find out what to use, then this is the cheaper option other than just using your phone itself. But again, you might not have the same phone, and that phone might have even worse microphones. So it's the most cost effective, and whilst being wired in isn't ideal, I actually don't feel particularly restricted, even possibly less so than I do with the AirPods. I don't know if I've not got my audio pass-through working properly on them or something like that, but yeah, I'm just not vibing with them today for whatever reason. So we're about to embark out onto this road. Now it is a used road, but it's not a public access road, it's just a farm access path, so not many cars on it, so we can record there. But yeah, let me get through the gate and we'll pick this back up on a different format. Okay, back in the room, and we're back with the AirPods, and I've just figured out what it is about these that I don't like. I checked, I have got them set up correctly. I've got the noise kind of, what do they call it? Basically where you can still hear the outside world, the noise transparency thing. And the thing that I don't like is not the way that other sounds are given to me. I can still hear the bird song, I can still hear cars coming, I can, you know, it's pretty much there. The only thing that I don't like about it is when I'm talking, I sound muffled to myself, which of course normally, if you're just on a phone call or, I don't know, just listening to music and just hearing the occasional hello is absolutely fine. But, well, when I'm trying to dictate something to camera, it's, I don't know, somehow it's a little off-putting and feels a bit, makes my head feel stuffy. I can't really explain it, I don't know why. I've had these for a while. To be honest, I really rate them. I really like them as a headphone. I think they're fantastic. But yeah, for whatever reason, recording with them just hasn't worked for me so far. Yes, it will definitely be interesting to see the results of this. And just a second. Just look at that view. Glorious rolling countryside. Sorry, yeah. I just caught that out of the corner of my eye. I was talking to the camera, thought I've got to film it. So yeah, it's really hope the lav mic picks up for this. To be honest, I'm really not using it at the minute, of course, but yeah, I really hope it comes off well. And the important thing in this test is also that it doesn't have to come off perfectly. We're not expecting or anticipating studio quality sound. This lav mic's not particularly expensive. I can't remember exactly how much I paid for it, but I'll chuck it on the screen or in the description. In fact, I'll do you one better. I'll link to the Amazon product in the description if you're interested. So, and I'll do the same with all of these things as well, but they're headphones on the phone itself. So yeah, it'll be interesting, and I do hope it works out because I really enjoy this outdoor just talking to camera thing. And I spent so long in my studio at home getting stuff right that, well, now when I leave and it's not the same quality, I don't know, I feel like I've not done something as good, even though inevitably being out in the field, as it were, or on a path in this case, would result in the same quality, because it won't. And I know also that achieving good quality in high winds and in the middle of nowhere is entirely possible without masses of kit, because several other people do it. Patrick Dickinson, very popular kind of outdoor wild camping kind of YouTuber, and there's another guy I started following recently whose name I actually can't remember. I think it's Liam Brown. I don't know. I'll link his channel in the description along with Patrick's. But so if anyone's clued up on audio and think they know what they're using in their more recent videos, then I'll also be very interested to know, because yeah, this might not go as expected and I might not get the results I want. So hey, right, that's I've just done an awful lot of talking with these AirPods, so let's go back to, we'll go back to the lav mic for the last bit of this video, I think, because, well, it's ultimately what we're here to test. I'm back on the lav mic now, which seems to have, there you go. I think I tempted fate talking about how unbusy this road is. You would be unfortunate to have to pull to the side to pass one car on a normal day. Three today. I am a bit earlier than usual, so that might be why people are doing school runs, that sort of stuff. But yeah, 3 cars. It's not a very wide road and 3 awkward dogs, so always fun. But I can't get over just how nice a day it is. Now, later today it's going to be 20 degrees, probably muggy as hell, it's going to be horrible. But right now, glorious. Absolutely glorious. So yeah, all we've got to do now is get up to the woods, back down to the van, and we'll be on our way. Right then, still on the lav mic, keeps folding itself into my shirt, but in the woods, glorious, as you can see. Yeah, nearly done with the walk now, just heading down back to the van, at the bottom of this little lane, as you can see, and yeah, been a glorious walk. Got no idea, of course, again, how the audio test has gone. We'll find out when we get back, but there is one more test that I would like to do here today, and that is using the lav mic in the van on the way back. The van is not the quietest vehicle on earth. It's got all-terrain tyres. Ultimately, it is a van. I have put some sound deadening in it, of course, all that stuff, but unless you spend silly money and really end up adding a lot of weight to your van, then there's not a way to make it properly silent without some negative, so I didn't bother. So it is a little noisy, it's clattery, and I always like talking when I'm driving for some reason. It's just a nice thing to do. So I'm going to get back, I'm going to set it up. I don't know if you're going to be able to see me or not, I don't know where I'm going to be able to put the camera, but yeah, that coming up right now. Okay, so I'll be honest, this is an angle I'm used to. It's the only place I could get the phone to sit in the car nicely. So yeah, this is going to be interesting, and we'll actually be able to do a good wind test because, of course, in the car we have aircon. So yeah, I'm on the lav mic, and there's clanging in the back, so we're going around a corner. I can already hear the tyres making noise. Bit echoey. To be honest, this van is actually quite a bit louder at slower speed. When you get to kind of 35, 40, it starts to bed down, but at lower speed is definitely, you get a lot more big echoey booms from things knocking around. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how the audio comes across from this, because as well as outdoor adventures and all that sort of stuff, and to be honest, including in those outdoor adventures, it would be nice to do some more content from the driver's seat, because well, driving is one of my passions. It's just very difficult to film coherently without either an awful lot of time or a lot of people helping you. So yes, there won't be car content as such, or certainly not in bulk, but one thing that I would like to do, as I say, is to be able to discuss what's going on any given trip or adventure from the driver's seat, which this is enabling me to do. It is definitely an odd camera angle with looking at me through the wheel. What's even weirder is that because of the positioning of the phone, I actually can't see me in the screen most of the time because the wheel is in the way. So yeah, that's one thing. Also, there's new laws in the UK as of about a year ago, or probably less than, actually, maybe it was earlier this year, that means that touching a phone in any way in a car is now completely illegal. So this is recording till I get home, which is, you know, just something to bear in mind when you're thinking about file storage and all that sort of stuff. Of course, I probably won't be talking to you all the way home because, well, I don't have 20 minutes worth of things to say. You can't see it, but there is a beautiful Miami blue Porsche Boxster, Boxster S, has just driven past me in the other direction. I wish I had two-way cams for those sorts of things, because that was a very nice car. That Miami blue is beautiful. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, I don't know how this audio is going to come across. Obviously, I can hear whistling now. I've got wind deflectors on the windows so that when we're camping, we can have them dropped a little bit for ventilation without anyone knowing that they're down, stuff like that. So they make a little bit of noise as they spoil the air. It's a very narrow lane, and not many people know how to drive it, apparently. Check my facilities, and we're off. So, how is this audio going? Yeah, so let's do a few tests, shall we? So first up, I'm just going to blast some cold air. So now the fans are going very, very aggressively. I'm talking at a relatively normal level, I guess.
the fans obviously are pushing both air onto me and the mic, so that may affect it. But also, they are genuinely just loud, especially as I believe Mrs. Crummybeard keeps her fans off most of the time because she's always cold. I've no idea how that test went, so let's bring them back down, leave them on one with a bit coming through. Another test we can do is drop the window, of course. So this is a bit more natural, you're getting more road noise, and it's probably more representative of what it would be like on a windy day. Now, I don't think the wind is hitting the mic directly in this instance, but there's certainly a whooshing sound, especially as cars go past and that sort of thing. So, yeah, interesting. Well, I say we won't know until we get back. So, they're the two main tests that I wanted to do to see how we get on. Of course, as well as this fan, I do have my silly little Abar Spider, which is even more difficult to film in because not only is it tiny, but well, the roof comes off. Which, you know, if this allows us to, sorry, I was distracted because I was overtaking a cyclist. If this mic allows us to film in much more noisy conditions, then well, that means that's a valid option for that car as well, which would be nice. But yeah, the only downside really that I've got on this mic, but this goes for all mics that I've got, is that I can't easily use it with my GoPro. I've got a GoPro Hero 6, which is 4 editions old now, quite amazingly, even though it doesn't feel like I got it all that long ago. And the component that you have to buy to allow you to use any other microphone with it other than the terrible inbuilt one is extortionately priced and has to be shipped in from the US, which also means it'll fair import duties. So I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to try and break that GoPro through genuine usage, not just destroy it, to the point that I can be valid in buying a newer one, which you can get much easier kind of add-ons as accessories to allow you to use other microphones, which in theory could also mean this lav mic. So yeah, we'll see. But anyway, that's enough of me waffling on. Let's find out when we get home exactly how all these mics did and which one, if any, is actually worth using outdoors.
I think you've seen enough of my heavily bearded face today, so I'm going to show you this slow-mo reel of my neighbour's cat who was larking about on some grass outside our houses when I got home. You may think I'm fond of this cat for filming it. No, he's just annoyingly cute. I actually don't like him very much because he sleeps on my car and ruins it. But anyway, story for a different time. About these microphones, what's my feelings now? Well, I was very pleased with the overall clarity, shall we say, of the lav mic. It never was affected by wind or really anything else. The only time we got any serious disruption on it was in the van on the way back when the van was going over bumps, which was shaking the phone and therefore shaking the connection slightly. I think that's just an issue with, well, the phone, to be honest. And if you plug that into a different recording device, you may see something different. The only other thing with the lav mic to consider is that it was also more easily affected by fluctuations in voice level. When I was speaking more loudly, then we did start to get a few distortions, simply because it was that much more sensitive in the immediate area around the microphone. That's just a learning curve for me. I know going forward, simply just not to worry about vocalizing everything quite as intensely using the lav mic. Overall, I'm pretty content with the fact that the lav mic is a good go-to, especially when you don't know what the weather is going to be. Now, of course, the overall quality on the phone itself was much better if you can guarantee relative silence, which is rarely the case. And to be honest, I don't know, it is easier not having to carry anything around. For the AirPods though, they seem to pick up wind actually more than the phone did. Whether that's because I was coupling it in my hand or whatever, I'm not sure. Or maybe they just are more exposed by the virtue of being in your ears. One thing I will say for the AirPods is that the AirPod audio actually requires less editing after the fact. So if you're not wanting to edit any of your content, then well, they might be the one to go for. Me personally, I think I'm probably going to use a blend of the three, is what I've really learned here. If I'm going to go out and you know, I don't know what's going to happen. Chances are I'm going to take my phone and the lav mic, and I'll just hook the lav mic up when I think the phone can't deal with it. That to me seems like the best option overall, and yeah, I think that's how we'll go in the future. So that really is everything. As always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you will be so kind, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.